So, man, I just love these conferences because you get so much good stuff. And I realize that we're doing a lot of things. There are a lot of things that we can't do. Again, I'm Sergeant Charmin, Cleveland Division of Police. One of my mentors, when I went through grad school, I was assigned to the mayor's office in the city of Cleveland. And my mentor was Assistant Director Barry Withers. And one of the things he would always say is, let no catastrophe go unused. And our catastrophe in Cleveland, Ohio is being under a consent decree. So we have a settlement agreement with the Department of Justice that was signed in 2015. And so because of that, a lot of our public safety, the Department of Public Safety is benefiting. Because we have a lot of deliverables that we have to accomplish through the settlement agreement, staffing plan, community problem and oriented policing plan, a recruitment plan, and equipment and some other plan. I had the recruitment plan, of course. So we've created a public safety recruitment team. So I'm the officer in charge of recruitment for police, fire, and EMS. All things public safety, which has been extremely interesting. But because we're under the settlement agreement, we have a lot of money allocated to recruitment. So I tell you, I'm always pleased at the discretion that we're given. So when you talk about having to work between competing, authorities, about how far you can go out, how innovative you can be, and how people want to stay into certain silos or boxes, then I'm reminded of how lucky we are in Cleveland, even with the situation being what it is. Female officers. How many of you are over the 13 to 17% on your departments? All right, 13 to 7. Was that what directed recruitment efforts for females? Yes? You want to talk about some of the things you did? Your name again, where are you from?
I'm Antoinette from Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond.
Wow. So we started recruitment, we just kept it on called Women in Policing. So we're out at gyms, we're in coffee shops. We recruit everywhere that we women are.
Okay.
And so our recruitment team, we've been doing it for so long, since 2004. Really.
Yes.
That wherever they are, where we have females, we're recruiting. So it's in the gym. We've gone to colleges and secondary education, as well as educational courses. We go there and speak with our female candidates just to keep them involved and engaged. And if y'all aren't busy, our let's say challenge video was all about women empowerment, focused on females, and recruiting. So it's just a part of our department.
So coffee shops, gyms where females are, that's some of the things that we've done. With you, your team, is it full-time?
Yes.
How many have full-time recruitment teams? Isn't it the best? I'm telling you, having a full-time recruitment team, I think it just changes the game. The Associated Press called the mayor's office not long ago. We want to talk to you guys about the struggles you're having getting numbers, and we said we're not struggling. We got our numbers. The mayor committed to hiring 250 officers this year. We hired 250 officers. So having a full-time and having the social media, that stuff is important. But when you're talking about reaching female officers, some of the things that we also did was contracted with the local radio station. Radio 1. And so Cleveland, Ohio, Guardians of the Land has been our hashtag, has been our mantra, Guardians of the Land. Of course, we got a big push behind the Cavs win and all that good stuff, Guardians of the Land. So that's who we are. So we always highlight women in our social media, and that's our chief, Calvin Williams. He says his hello. And there's currently a lack of adequate representation of women in U.S. police forces, according to a national survey and all that, and we all know that. So why aren't more women attracted to the profession of policing? Why do you think?
Shift work.
Shift work? What else? What, family life? They're seeing as the ones that Image. So when I was tasked to head up this team, I did exactly what Jennifer was talking about. I looked at the videos out there. I looked at some of the recruitment out there. And I couldn't believe every recruitment video. What's one of the first things you see? What? I'm like, for real? Right? Kicking in doors, got the dogs out on people. Oh, we love the one where we get in formation, right? Tap off on each other. And love that one. Like, come on now. When I went into patrol, it is the least of what we do. Why do we lead with the least of what we do? Why do we do that?
Because it's exciting.
Action junkies.
It's sexy.
Oh, is it? That's It's funny because when I was younger and we would watch movies, one of the things that my parents would point out to us is, why do we always put sex and guns together? What's wrong with us as a society? Sex and guns, right? The drama shows. We have daughters, we have sons, point that out. But, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any of these videos, but that's what they are. I'll keep it because Nancy has such good stuff. I didn't even want her to hurry up for mine. I can't get there. But you all see, has everybody seen these videos? Right? You know, and I was hoping, that's another reason I had y'all call out your agencies. I'm like, somebody don't want to meet me in the hallway. But that's what it is. You look at those videos and we lead with SWAT, the middle of the video is SWAT, the end of the video is SWAT. And that is not the majority of what we do. So what do? We change the narrative. We tell the truth about policing. You know, when I was on probation in the 4th District, it was in the summer when we got on the road, riding down the road, some brothers on a porch. I'm like, and I like the brothers. I'm like, hey. And they looked at him and said, oh, you're not mad? You ain't mad? You ain't mad. That's what we're supposed to be. That's how community sees us. We're always mad. Behind dark glasses, black gloves on. Really? No. And I thought, wow, we got a ways to go here. Tell the true story of a day in policing. Tell the truth. What's the job function? In Cleveland, we had over 300,000 calls for service last year. Less than 7% in an arrest. Less than 7% in an arrest. What does that tell us? What is the majority of our job? Service. Conflict resolution. De-escalation. It's not kicking in doors. It's not calling out SWAT. It's not. Who's going to be attracted to that? People who get us under a settlement agreement. That's who's attracted to that. Most officers never fire their weapons in the line of duty. That's true for all of us. You want more women, tell the truth. Why do we need to have this image of badassness? Why? Because the truth is, during the academy, you're going to learn what you need to learn and do what you need to do. Is that not the truth? When it's time to get down, it's time to get down, and you can do what you need to do. I was partners with Kim Marty in the 4th District. I wear them now, but at the time I didn't. Kim wore French manicure, okay? So people would be surprised still in this day and age when we get out the car. Oh, 2 girls? Oh, 2 women? They let y'all ride together? Let us, right? Yes. And one of the things I love to tell people when I come on scene, I was so glad to come into policing. I was 38 when I went in the academy, right? In grad school, I shadowed Chief Mary Bounds, the first black female police chief in Cleveland. And she asked me about applying to the police department. I said, no, hell no. I don't even, because of some of the experiences I had. I was in undergrad when they start talking about the white extremist right infiltrating law enforcement, infiltrating the military. I've had someone call me the N-word when I was an admissions advisor at Daytona State College. Come into work, I pull into a parking space, and I get out and the guy say, you effing N. I'm like, for real? Why? You saw me wait for that space. I really didn't, but you have a nice day. I go to my office, they call me, Miss Evans, someone's here to apply for the police academy. Send them back. It wasn't him, but it was his wife. It was his wife. And I said, wow. I said, I hope you don't have the same perception that she does, that he does, but what are the chances of that? So when someone asks me about it, I'm like, I'm cool on it, right? However, as fate would have it, a couple of years later, I became a victim's advocate in a domestic violence unit. I worked for the county. I always worked in the helping professions. I was a public service worker. I was a mentoring, assistant director of a mentoring program down in Daytona Beach. And I got to work with other women in law enforcement, detectives, sergeants, and other men. And I'm like, they're not all like that? Oh, wow. So when I was called back by the same chief who was now over recruitment, I really think you need to apply. I'm just going to do it out of respect for her. But then my ego kicked in, right? It's like, well, I can't fail. I got to get through it. And then when I got the uniform, it's a fish to water. It's a fish to water because it's what I've done all my life is work in the community. That's easy peasy. Somebody says, you know, when people come up to me and say, oh, you have such a hard job, I said, no, I don't. No, I don't. You're the right person for this job. It's not hard. It's not. This is the best tool we got. It's better than any pistol or anything else. It's this right here. Like I said, when we went into patrol and we'd come out, we told them, hey, this uniform don't make me a man. I'm so glad we are to the point now we don't have to prove that we're one of the boys, because we're not. Because our skill set and our benefit comes in from being women and the skill set that we bring, all right? I told them, hey, this uniform doesn't make me a man. You see, my partner has manicured nails. We don't fight. You don't do what we say, we a taser. And I tell them, if you want to fight, I call the boys. They love to fight. They'll fight you all day. And you say, I meant that. I'm not going to fight you. But we do what we have to do. We brought in most of the guns that one summer in the 4th District. 4th District in Cleveland, Ohio is the busiest district. We had a gun run and we had an officer coming. He says, I came now because when you all get a gun run, it's really a gun. Because how many of you go on gun runs? Most of the time, there's no guns, right? They just call you, they just say that to get you there. Policing is not in the top 10 most dangerous professions in the United States. Who knows what is? That's number 1. It usually goes back and forth. Logging, which is understandable, right? And other one, my recruiter called out the other day. Not in the top 10. You want more women? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. In the training academy, you can get through it. It's not hard. It's not hard. You know, those first few weeks are the weed out weeks. I never had anybody yelling like, I'm 38. They in my face. I'm like, for real? Okay. They got me to cry almost one time. But, you know, you get through it. Tell them the truth. Hey, get through the hard part. Then you're learning about the laws. Then we're teaching you techniques. It's good you can get through it. Now we have procedural justice, legitimacy, and implicit bias. How many have instituted that into your training? Isn't that just amazing? That whole implicit bias is not what you think about. You know, becoming emotionally intelligent. Who's on the big evidence-based policing push? There's a conference in May in Cincinnati. I can't wait to check it out. We are developing. We are a profession. We need to be practitioners. And so if we continuously educate ourselves about the developments in policing, that's attractive. That's attractive to really be, not just say it, not just try to force respect because of the badge and the gun. Just like today, how many got your pistol on you? 9. You got your pistol on you. Are you local? You're not local? Just feels comfortable. So we talked about website, what our officers put up, right? We had an officer put up, I wish they just lock us down. No, you can't be on social media. Some of the things that we put on social media. He took his kids out to swings and things. You all know the swings and things, like the little indoor parks. And they said, you know, I know you're an officer, but that gun, and granted, guys, that's a conversation we could have all day. Things are happening everywhere. Can't go to school, can't go to church, I get it. And when you see yourself as a guardian, a protector, I get it. But we want to be seen as neutral to the people that we serve. And so they said, really, it makes us uncomfortable. Would you mind not wearing your gun? And he says, my gun not welcome, I'm not welcome. Oh my God, here we go. And so, sure enough, other officers said, me too, I'm not going there anymore, I'm not going. Oh my God. You know, I only put the badge on so y'all know the police for real. But I mean, a lot of places we go, you know, I don't wear my pistol. When we go out to talk to people, and you'll see I have later on, talk about go where people are, we're going to the beauty and barbershops. Because we can hold all the information sessions we want. We can go to all the job recruiting sites, events we want. If people are turned off by our profession because of the things that they're seeing, hearing, and experiencing, everybody is not lying. And I know from my own experience, then we can hold all these sessions we want. They're not coming because they don't want to work with them. They don't want to work. I don't want to work there. They believe it's a hostile and unwelcoming environment. So we go into the beauty and barbershops, and let me tell you, you gotta bring your big boy girls, okay? You gotta be big boys and girls to do that, because they bring it, both barrels blazing. So the benefit also in our recruitment team is I was allowed, which I know a lot of folks, you don't have the ability to pick my own team. So I knew who I was getting. I knew who could go into these spaces and we not get ran out of there. Incentives and benefits, and talked about that. The flex, how many of you utilize your flex benefits? Oh my goodness, it's pre-tax. You don't get taxed on that money. You know how, like daycare, you can't even get, can you get a write-off now? Daycare's been a while since my kids were in daycare. So the flex benefits, and a lot of you have it, you determine up to like $2,500 how much you want to be taken out of your check. You don't have to claim that. Does not come in your taxable income. That's good stuff, y'all. And it's good for your co-pays too. So it's not just daycare and stuff, but that's something to highlight. We've gone to 10-hour shifts on our BNC platoons, our second and third shifts in Cleveland. That's like getting your life back. My twin brother's ex-wife was a cop in Chicago. And before we went to 10-hour shifts, I talked to her and she said, yeah, people were kicking and screaming, my part-time. Do y'all hear that too? What about my part-time? It's gonna check up, you know, my part-time is gonna be messed up. She said, once we went to 10-hour shifts, it was like getting your life back. That's part of that work-life balance. You know, when we have, you're guaranteed instead of the 6 8s, how many of you did the 6 8s? 6 days in a row, 8 hours a day, and then you get 2 days off, that you rotate until you got to the weekends, and then you would just get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. That's crazy. And the time when they used to rotate shifts every 30 days, of course there's going to be drinking and divorces and outside babies and everything. What did you think? You know, that was nuts. So the 10-hour shifts are just, oh, they're so lovely. Every week you get 3 days off, and then every 3 or 4 weeks you get 4 days off in a row. You can put 4, you all call it vacation, we call it furlough, minus time, whatever. You can get your 12 days off and not even use all that time for your vacation. So that's good stuff. Tuition reimbursement, that's important to women. You can be a mom and be a police officer. You have to highlight your women in leadership. And we have women at the top. We have Deputy Chief Joellen O'Neill, Commander Deborah Cabot. We have Detective Stocco in homicide. You know, we talked about that track, career track. We have Commander Deirdre Jones over support services. And we highlight them. And we don't just highlight on our social media our women in leadership. We highlight women in all public safety forces. And I know that has made a difference. Show your male officers support of female officers. So I get to tell the story when we go out and people say, what made you want to be a cop? Or, you know, what's it like in a male-dominated field? And I say, you got so much support. You have so much support. And in Cleveland, where it's majority minority population, okay? So again, you have this belief that hostile work environment, white males, you know, this military style, communities feel occupied, all right? And at times there's good reason for it, that they do. Looking at how we used to recruit in the past, and I don't think I'll get to that because I'm not sure where I am on time. But I get to tell the story that when I went to the 4th District on probation, probation is 6 months. 3 months in, we get back to the district and they're like, hey, Sergeant Michael Bentley wants to see you in the back. Go back there thinking I'm in trouble. And Michael Bentley is a cop's cop. He is the man, white male sergeant, who had made sergeant, didn't want to drink the Kool-Aid. Y'all use that term? Drink the Kool-Aid? I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, gave the stripes back. How many credit do you think he got for that? Major, okay? Took the test and became a sergeant again. That's who called me to the back. And he says, you know, Char, I hope they don't give the promotion. You have to have 3 years on to take the promotion before you can take it. I hope they don't give it before you can take the promotion. You got this. And I was kind of like, yeah, I've been in the community all my life. The only difference now is I'm in a uniform. You know, he's like, you got this. He said, and we need black women to advance in the Cleveland Division of Police. You know what that did for me? Can you imagine? I wasn't a kid, I was 38. Implicit bias, you talk about my implicit bias being totally blown away, totally blew me away. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. Thank you. You know, but again, because of his cred, because of who he was, and here's a white male, he's pulling me and saying, yeah, we need you. Wow. I love telling that story in the beauty of barbershops and saying, don't believe the hype. The water's fine. You come in. It's not a hostile work environment. And if you do have a hostile work environment, or you have those underlying things, the implicit bias, things you say when nobody else is around, when it's not a mixed group, it's incumbent upon you to address it. Be honest about it and address it. And don't be afraid of us. We're not bossy. We just have skills. You know, leadership. Understand? No, really. Talk about the skill sets that women bring. You know, that's our Lieutenant Awesome Sauce right there. Love him. But just me and being so supportive of us. This was 4th District, and we always felt supported. And, you know, when I talk about not having to be a boy, I don't have to act like I'm tough and I'm, you know, yeah, I get down with the boys or whatever. And we do when we have to. We do what we have to do. But what I love are the gentlemen on the division. So when we had a psych, you know, case one time, guy was all wet, and he just stretched his cat until he pulled the cat apart, right? And we had to tase this guy, so Jesus. And usually the way that goes is whoever's riding that day, whoever in the passenger seat, they ride with the patient in the ambulance to the hospital. Your partner follows behind you. And I'm like, oh, I gotta ride with this. Nah, I'm not gonna have to tase him again. I don't know when I'm in here. And one of the officers, Anthony Rice, came up to me and was like, I got this, y'all. I'll ride with him, don't worry about it. I was like, I love y'all. I love y'all. I can be a girl when I want to be a girl. I don't have to be a big one. No, that's cool. I got it. No. No. You know, so just those kind of things that don't get talked about, written about. You can enjoy it, and it's okay. And for women to know that and say, hey, this really is a helping profession, and go into other areas. So again, when we want to portray a certain image, but what we do is in contradiction to what we say. So what I mean by that is, when we walk around, we want everybody to think, oh, it's so hard. This job just beats you down. It's so difficult. The things we have to see, it causes me to drink. You know, okay. But if that's the case, when we have fathers recruiting their daughters on the division, in one class not too long ago, we had 4 women who are daughters of current police officers. I use that. The Fox 8 did a story and everything, but when we go into these spaces, I use that. I said, do you really think these men are telling their daughters to come on some job that's kicking their ass 24/7? Really? No. They're doing it come in. So what happened between the last 2 years that we've been a full-time team and we've been going out there? We've doubled our numbers. We've doubled our numbers. That's our first test of 2017. Total applicants 1117, 300 women. It dipped in the second testing period. You know how that goes because a lot washed out. And we have shortened our process, and we talk about that. We've done the NeoGov. I probably won't have time to talk about what time. It's 10:24. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up. I promise at each other. And so our total then was 535. Here's the numbers we're looking for. Look, 1,400. We have 419 female applicants, and how that panned out is that in our 140th class we had 22%. In our 141, we had 23%, did down to 13, but in this current class, we have 31% female. 70, and we have a class of 70, which is the largest class we've had in the last 2 years. Okay? Question?
Is that for the year? Is that the classes for the year?
So there was 2 classes from last year and 2 classes from this year. Yes.
You guys want to run, well, the academy class of the year, 2 classes a year?
No, we ran as many as, you bring it up, you're gonna make me start twitching. Because we ran we overlapped classes. We went to the NeoGov online application, and then the Ergometrics, the national testing network, so that we could shorten the application process. And when the mayor said that when he made the commitment to hire 250, he said, I don't care what it takes. And plus our residents passed issue 32, which increased funding for public safety. So he said, I don't care how many classes. We ended up even contracting out to the community college to run one of our academies. They have an open one, but we had them run an academy with only our employees, with our recruits. But most of our officers, most of their trainers are our officers anyway, okay? So there's no set number of classes that we have every year. So this year we overlapped some classes. So we had, those were 2 from last year, but now I think the one that started yesterday is our 4th class for the year.
4 classes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also women and minorities as a percentage, the 140th was, hold on, because when I crunched the numbers for this, I had to text the chief. I was like, happy holidays. I want to say, you're welcome, but I like my position and I want to be smart. So, but I'll tell you what that was. And then I'll run through the rest of these and you guys can take a break. Women and minorities. 31%, 45%, 49%, and the class that started yesterday, 61%. Totally flipped that number. And that's just being face-to-face, being out there in the streets, talking to people, and telling the truth about policing. And not just going to criminal justice classes. If conflict resolution is the most that we do, where should we be recruiting from? Behavioral and social sciences. We went and spoke to a peace and conflict resolution class the other day. That's what makes a difference. We have a pipeline program. You know, we have women, all the literature said, who wrote the literature?
Right.
Over the last 60 years, it's been the same. White males wrote the literature. So we know what to do. It's just a matter of whether or not people are putting the resources behind it and doing it. Your recruitment team must reflect the demographic you're looking for. Makes it easy. People are more comfortable. So we have a pipeline. Cleveland has what's called Destination High School. So Martin Luther King had one for public safety. So we partnered with them over the summer, did a 6-week program, and these are our graduates. Awesome. We talked about Frontline National. We're going to talk more about that. It measures for the skill sets necessary to employ good urban community policing, team orientation, your level of enforcement, your level of empathy. Those things matter because we're not jumping in the SWAT truck every day. Okay? To retain female officers, we talked about a mentoring program. So we do it informally right now. After we recruit and they get into the academy, we find out what districts they're going out to, and we go out and we just check up on them, see how they're doing, is there anything they need. And instead of program, we are not there yet. with giving incentives to officers who bring in officers. So we'll get there. And that's one of the shop beauty badges and bonding in the barbershops. That's what we call it. And that's what we have. And we tweet it out before we are at a shop. We go out and flyer the area of the shop that we're going to be in. It's one thing when we come away from it and say, man, that was a good conversation. But the last place we went to was Second Round Knockout Barbershop, and they tweeted on their page, if you weren't here, you missed out. And because they had said before, you need to be here. We're always complaining about the police. They said they're going to come out and talk to us directly, so if you want to talk to them, come out. And afterwards, they were like, we hope they don't stop this. This is what it's going to take to change the narrative, change the game. And it's deep, y'all, I'm telling you. We have some footage. We're not ready to put it out yet because we really want to be able to do this for a while before, Big Brother comes in. So, that's it. Do we have any questions for me? I'll be around for the rest of the day, sir.
What was the name of that website? Frontline what?
Oh, Ergometrics. Right down there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else? Thank you guys for your time. It's time for right on time.